Hello, everybody. As you can see, I've got a different look tonight. I had to do this video. This is take two. I did it yesterday, so sorry, it should have been ready for you yesterday. But I, for whatever reason, did not have the right microphone setting on. Another video I did with no sound. So anyway, it has been fixed. And oh, that was whoa, transparency. Anyway, I hope you like the background. You can give me feedback if you hate it or if you like it, but it's different. And I've got some nice chill music in the background. So we're trying something new. Welcome to the new moon, the dark moon in Sagittarius. And we've got a lot to talk about. It's a complicated feeling out there right now and energy. And I'm saying complicated because a lot of people are sort of giving very mixed messages, including myself, like, I'm good, but I'm crying off and on all day. Or no, I mean I love my activities, but I'm just like exhausted and just want to go to bed. There's this mix of energy in the air, and we can explain some of the happy, bouncy, levity, go, go, go with the fire planets that are making a trine. And we can also explain some of the purging and the undercurrents that are going on too. So first, I wanted to share with you, since we are in holiday mode, happy, American friends just had your Thanksgiving and your Black Friday. And up here, of course, now, December 1st, we start Advent and the countdown to Christmas holidays for some of us. If you observe Christmas, and others, there's many holidays happening at this time of year. It's a countdown to the solstice as well, and the darkest day of the year. But I wanted to just share with you a few specials I have if you're looking for gifts to give people for the holidays. So I'm just going to share the screen very briefly with what I'm offering. So anybody can gift anybody a full session if you would like to. So if you would like to do that, you can message me, email me. My email is always in the bottom of the comments. Otherwise, there's a few ideas if you want to give somebody just a little taste of what a reading is like. So if you want to know your own sun, moon, rising, or gift that to somebody else, then I can either create a little email or a little video with that. A 3-card tarot reading, an emailed mini reading. What's the difference? The 3-card tarot, I'm going to show you the cards and tell you what they are. Either you can choose email or video. But I would show you the cards and tell you what they mean in terms of your reading. The emailed mini reading is as it says, it's email, and I'm just going to channel whatever comes to me based on what you ask. The video mini readings are also, you can ask whatever question you like, and I will either go on, like you can ask a few questions and we'll see how far I get in 15 minutes or half an hour. Depends on how much you've got going on. And that's a video. So they can be nice gifts. I can create gift certificates for you if you like to give and send them to you digitally. You can print them. Or it can be as simple as like a link to something. It's really up to you if you want to gift something special to somebody for holidays. So if you would like to reach me for a session at any time, I am working over the holidays too. I'll just take a few days off or have reduced hours like other people. But other than that, I'm still open for business over the holidays. And I thought it would be nice to just, share some different spiritual gift ideas. You can also get your astrology chart done as well. Now, let's take a look at this chart and try to break down why we have such like a push-pull or sort of a dualistic kind of feeling in the air. All right, here we go. All right. Of course, this is cast for the Eastern time zone, as you know. And with that being the case, it is a Libra as the rising sign, with the South Node on the rising sign. So the South Node on the ascendant sort of pushes us to go forward, because it's like right there in your face suddenly what your old direction or what you need to move away from. And when it's on your rising sign in life, but also, you know, for purposes of this particular chart, it's sort of like you can't hide it when it's on your rising sign. So if there are old karmic lessons, or if you were no longer supposed to be in a certain direction, you're going to know it. It's not a mystery. And usually, because it's on the rising sign, you can't hide it from others. So it's going to be constantly reflecting back to you. It's not an internal thing you can just mull over if you want to or don't. Your rising sign, South Node, is like, no, no, no. We are pushing you in this life. You must. You will constantly be reminded of what is not working, so that you go towards the North Node, which is in Aries. So that's one aspect that might make us feel we are purging, or really putting a major closure on this chapter, which we could call Pluto and Capricorn. A lot of people are reflecting that to me, that they feel the ending of a time, the ending of an era, and the exhaustion, the relief, the hope going forward, the regrets, the hardship that they lived, the ready to let go, ready to do something different. There is a lot of that in the air. And even though it can feel exhausting and heavy, it's still healing. And so it's still positive. So that's another duality about healing. So the main thing going on, of course, is our sun and moon in Sagittarius. And we've got Mercury retrograde pretty darn close to it. When you've got the sun and the moon in Sagittarius, you have somebody who is active, somebody who wants and needs their freedom, and they need their space. And they need their mental space, not just their physical. It's both. They need their mental, physical, emotional space. They want to figure it out on their own. They want to go off into the wilderness. They want to learn the hard way if they want to. And they don't want people weighing in, micromanaging them, interfering with their process. And often these people will be on a quest of some sort, you know, to improve themselves, to learn, to, you know, to discover things in different countries, different cultures, break new ground in some way. And the sun and moon in Sag is also usually pretty righteous and sort of blunt sometimes. It knows what it thinks, and it's, you know, it can be sometimes a bit like highly motivated and charged up and rah, rah, rah in a good way. And other times it can be very sort of like righteous and dogmatic and a bit in your face. So you'll have to see which you encounter, or what you encounter in yourself. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius, even though it's not by degree lumped in, it's still sitting right beside it. And Mercury in Sag would be somebody, you know, smart and calling it like it is. You know, just walks in and says, why are you doing that? You know, just very like blunt, no nonsense. And as a truth-telling kind of Mercury, you know, people have a love-hate with the truth. We all say we want it until we hear it. And then usually we have some sort of prickly reaction or anger or hurt or something. But if we can recognize the truth when it's being told to us versus whatever propaganda or BS we're getting, but if we can recognize that something is truthful, even if it's a little rough around the edges, not very sensitively said, we can grow a lot from it. So sometimes, you know, some people appreciate that energy and other people find it really hard. They find it rude, but it's retrograde. So how is a very, you know, blunt, calling it like it is, planet going to react when it's retrograde? I would say it's going to be awkward. It's like if it's in its best expression, like I said, maybe somebody walks in the room and there's a bunch of people fumbling around with equipment or something that it's just, and they're just making a mess, and a Mercury and Sag person walks in and says, that isn't working. Like, what are you doing? This isn't going to work. Start over. Or they say something, you know, an observation that's true, and you know, and they just see it very quickly because they assess very quickly, but they say it really bluntly, so people get hurt or offended, or sometimes they're refreshed and they're grateful for it. That's really a personal thing. So in the case of retrograde Mercury, it's holding back, or it's thinking for a second before it's being blunt. So instead of just walking in the room and calling it out right away, it might sort of try to make a joke first, or say something sort of like halfway, but not really fully, not with that full confidence. So it might come off weirder or more awkward, or even perhaps more blunt, because there's something awkward. And it's also Mercury and Sun and Moon are also opposing Jupiter and Gemini. And Jupiter and Gemini is very much a gift of the gab. Very good. It's very, very good at it, right? It's the opposite of Sag. It's going to be more elastic and adaptable and constantly like sensing and assessing, where are you at? Where is this person at? What's their level of understanding and awareness, and what language are they using? And then they mirror. And so, you know, they're very quick and very good at finding the right flow to get a message across in the right way to the right people, you know, and they're constantly wearing many hats and do it and speak one with you, one with you, one with you. Sagittarius is more like a mallet, you know, it's like it's singular. It's not going, oh, if I adapt to this and that and this and that and this and that person, it's just like I come in and I'm like, that's what I'm saying. That's what it is. So Jupiter's opposing that energy and opposing the Mercury retrograde. So again, that's another, Jupiter's retrograde too, though. So it sort of makes me feel like, you know, there's just lots of awkward pauses, or just sort of like cheesy jokes floating around, or you know, just something somebody really was inappropriate and shouldn't have said, you know. So it doesn't seem horrible. I'm just saying there's like, it's in the air, that awkward feeling. So that's one of our, you know, first major aspects to the Sun, Moon, Mercury. If we look at what else it's touching, I'm going to look at the tough stuff first, and then the good stuff will come, okay? So bear with me. The next aspect that we see are all these squares to Saturn. So Saturn's in Pisces. It's just the big mushy, we are all one, we all feel, we all have compassion. We have to sense everybody, how everybody feels, and know that everybody's suffering just like in the world. And so we can't separate it out and say someone else's is more than someone else's. There's no competition on suffering. And, you know, we're trying to understand how everybody and everything is interconnected, even if it seems like we're all polarized. So with that, you get the mallet person, you know, and they're squaring off with each other. So how do you think that's going to look? So you're going to get an aspect of people either trying to tell you how it is, you know, the blunt truth teller person. Well, you know, you should have been softer. That wasn't very sensitive the way you said that. Or you're going to get corrected and moralized, like, well, you know, you can't make statements like that. That's too general. And the Sag is just like, I called it for what it was. I wasn't talking about the whole puzzle. I was talking about that piece. And Saturn's going to be maybe like silent or offended or something. Yeah. And it squares off with the Gemini as well. So it's doing it to the Gemini. Saturn and Pisces would rather these two guys just, you know, stop talking so much and just sort of feel things a little bit more. So there's a little bit of like irritability and maybe like eye rolling, maybe withdrawing, silent treatments. These are all worst case scenarios, but they're squares. And that's just like, we're talking about communication issues, relationship issues. So needless to say, there's a feeling of some misunderstandings in the air, of realizing, well, you're really not on the same wavelength as some people, and which is true, where some people are just not in the same wavelength, not even in the same game or the same paradigm that you're functioning in. And you're not aligned, and it's going to be probably pretty obvious right now who is and who isn't. So yeah. The other square here we have is Mercury and Neptune, and Neptune's in Pisces, Mercury's in Sag. So whenever you get a square with Neptune, you get the manipulation quality, the idealization quality, the missing, you know, lies by omission, or just even innocently things that are just not brought up or not mentioned, that didn't even occur to the person to come to light or to bring it up. Mercury square Neptune can cause, you know, some foggy, muddy states of mind. You might feel sort of confused or like moody or spaced out sometimes with that aspect. And it also might mean like, be careful of, you know, what people are saying isn't always what, you know, they mean. I mean, we know this, that sounds so basic, but it is part of Mercury Neptune to have perhaps sometimes a deceptive quality by being very charming and fluid and omitting or creating like a, ooh, you know, wow, ooh, ah, kind of factor around things. Idealistic, and it could be hiding things. And because both are retrograde, Neptune and Mercury are retrograde, it's very inner again. So again, like moody, foggy, dreamy, and difficult to get things out clearly right now. I would say that even if it's just Mercury retrograde, let alone all the challenges to Mercury, you see 1 with Saturn, 2 with Neptune, and 3 with Jupiter, all challenging Mercury. So it's pretty tough right now to be sort of slicing through to the truth of stuff, even though that's what Mercury and Sagittarius wants. There's challenges every time they try to do it. So it can cause frustration, misunderstanding. But like I said, there's also what I see going on is there's also people that are realizing that they're closer and more aligned to the right people, but they've had to let go of blending in with everyone. And that desire to blend in and with everyone is very much the South Node in Libra. They want to be good and get along with everyone. And we can't. So then we turn to the North Node in Aries, which is where we need to go, which is our warrior mode, which is our looking out for number one mode, which is being truthful and honest, a bit blunt again sometimes, sort of like Sag, but even more so, even more sort of rudimentary or simple and direct and strong. And we need to get to this place where we're, you know, understanding what a healthy sense of self is again. Bringing it back to who you are, what you stand for, and what you need. And what do you say based on that? Whereas our South Node in Libra, that old karma that wants everything to be blended in and fit in and be nice, and no matter who or what conflict is going on from all sides, you want everybody to understand and see you as a good person in it, and not ruffle any feathers or not have anything move on, like where groups can break into different parts perhaps, or you let go of one and you feel closer to another. Libra's trying to keep it all together tight and equal with everyone so that nothing really tends to budge. But the North Node in Aries is definitely calling us to think about who you are and what you stand for and what you're aligned with. And then therefore you will find what and who you are truly aligned with instead of pleasing or mediating all the time. And in the case, again, of the way the houses play out for the Eastern time zone that we're in, the North Node is in the 7th house, which is our marriage and partnerships, open enemies. So in order to align with the right groups, the right people, the right life partner, you have to be very true to yourself right now. So now we move to some of the good aspects going on. And that is, as you see here, Chiron up here, which is not an easy, it's an asteroid, not a planet. And it's not easy. Ugh. I put some music behind, and of course it's playing ads. Sorry about that. Chiron is an asteroid. And it's standing for, sorry for the pauses there. I was trying to put music and try to be all chill, but anyway. But the ads came on. Chiron is all about the wounded self. So it's a really strong focus on Aries. The wounded self is somebody that very likely had trauma growing up. Very likely you didn't get what you needed. And it continued a pattern of low self-esteem. And it might have led to you not really knowing yourself as well as you could. You know, if someone asks you, what are your strengths? Can you tell them? If someone says, what are your weak points? What things do you need to work on? Do you know, or do you struggle? You know, if somebody says, what do you absolutely need to be happy in a relationship? Because it is in the 7th house of relationships. What do you absolutely need to be a healthy version of yourself in a relationship? Can you answer that? You know, because with Chiron and Aries and the wounded self, you might not be able to, unless you've done a lot of therapy or inner reflection or meditation or reading over the years, you know, it'll have been a struggle. And so what happens then with Chiron and Aries in a 7th house is that if you don't know yourself well enough, you will lose yourself in whoever's around. You might deep down sort of, some people are genuinely lost. You know, they wouldn't be able to answer anything about who they are. And they're always blending in and accepted by a bunch of other people or groups, or even married to someone who's just comfortable with them blending like that. You know, it's not like highly conscious relationships. And then if you go to somebody who's, let's say, had some trauma and they're having difficulty, but they do sort of know, you know, when push comes to shove, no, I do know who I am and I do know what I need. I just, maybe you feel like you can't ask for it, or you haven't had much success in being, in meeting your needs, or meeting people that you feel seen. And so you're always around people in groups and work situations and whatever, where you're not. And it can set you up in the worst case scenario is it sets you up for somebody like a narcissist, toxic person, to swoop in and fill in that gap and tell you who you are and tell you how to be and make your decisions, instead of saying, well, negotiating and asking permission and consent and what would you like to do, and you know, being a team. So if you don't know yourself well enough and there's a wound there, you're set up much more so to be available to toxic relationships and to bullies and to narcissists, and you know, not being treated well or manipulated. Then you have to search all over again, you know, and pull yourself out of difficult situations, which is demoralizing. So we're all sort of being asked, you know, with Chiron and Aries, it's been there a while now. It's 19 degrees and it's still got 11 to go. So this is something that's going on for all of us. I believe Chiron is in one sign for 2 to 2.5 years. To double check that, but it is a while, and maybe you can relate to that. Maybe that's part of your journey. It's like maybe you were feeling lost and now you're coming to know yourself and be true to yourself again, and things will get happier for you as you do. And that is making a beautiful aspect to Mercury, Sun, and Moon in Sagittarius. So that's super supported right now. So with what we said about Sag, sometimes reacting like a bit of a mallet, you know, that's what I think. That's my opinion. That's the truth. So some people like Saturn and Jupiter might get offended at that, but Chiron and Aries is maybe going to love that, because maybe you need to do a bit of that right now in order to really realign your life. Maybe you need to make statements and not worry, South Node in Libra, about pleasing everybody. Maybe you need to come out of a closet. Maybe you need to just suddenly say no, or you're not the pleaser that people thought you were, or you walk away from something people never expected you to. Like there's some sort of bold move here that supports you knowing better who you are, being seen, and asking for what you need. So I consider that a great aspect right now of this dark moon. And the other beautiful thing here is that it is supported by Mars up here in Leo. Mars in Leo is very, very bold, confident, dominant, even sometimes glamorous, sometimes pomp and ceremony, sometimes showing off, sometimes for good ways too, you know. Performer can be an amazing Mars in Leo, or they can be horrible. But Mars in Leo is just really strong and bold and confident and a bit dramatic. So if you've got Mars helping out Sun, moon, Mercury, sun and moon more than Mercury, and helping out also the North Node and Neptune. It's again, it's not a complete grand trine, as you can see. Otherwise, there would be a line. See how these blue lines are crisscrossing each other here? If it was a perfect grand trine, we would see Chiron would be drawn over to Mars, or the North Node would be drawn over to Sun, Moon, Mercury. But we do sort of almost have that effect. So there's a lot of support for fiery action, which fire is always your willpower, action versus thinking about it. Courage and like a bit of forcefulness, to make something happen. So the only thing to be careful of with fire is that you don't let the fire get out of control. Which would mean too much anger, too much force, trying too hard. The mallet thing, hitting someone over the head, well, it can hurt. So there's ways of being bold and moving your life forward. And they require being strong, and sometimes they require being a bit ruthless, but it doesn't mean you have to be, Mars can be even violence. You don't have to go into a negative terrain to be bold. So that's the challenge, because we don't see a lot of that energy in people right now. We don't have many role models of that are healthy. Okay. We have definitely bold and grandstanding and showy and dominant. Definitely we have that. But healthy leadership, we don't see a lot of that right now. Confident, motivating leaders that are healthy, we're not seeing a lot of that right now. So that's the goal with this chart. And it's all about moving yourself towards greater sense of yourself and greater sense of alignment with yourself. And therefore that's going to have ripples in your relationships and your work and your finances, everything. Getting into alignment. So there's another side of this chart that feels almost like it's a different door, like a surprise door. Huh? And that is Venus and Pluto, trine Uranus. Venus is your desires, including sexual desire, also anything that you desire, anything where you're like, oh, I want that so much. Oh, I love that. I like this. Anything. It's your tastes. And that could be, oh my God, I love that beach, or, oh, this tastes so good. I love that food. And it can apply to people. That's my type. That's what I love that about this person. I love this quality in a man or a woman. Usually it's a woman, it's Venus. And so you're dealing with your strong likes and wants and desires. And it's in Capricorn. So it is ambitious and it wants a lot of things. It wants status when it's in Capricorn. It wants elegance. It wants money. It wants, positions of influence, objects of influence. So it colors these desires. Venus in Capricorn doesn't want a tiger striped couch. No. Venus in Capricorn wants very expensive black leather shoes, very understated. They want an elegant, simple, well-built, expensive, exclusive area for their home. So you get me. Pluto now moving finally into Aquarius. is right beside it, and Pluto in Aquarius wants different things. So you've got like very ambitious energy coupled with very powerful but rebellious energy. You know, the fantasy of Venus and Capricorn would be total control. Pluto in Aquarius is here to say, bust that open. Control, what is that? You don't have control. Bust that all open. So there's a lot of tension in these two planets being together, and they're making a trine, so they're helped out by Uranus, but Uranus is also like a lightning bolt that comes in to throw a monkey wrench of change and restlessness into the air. So somebody around you, could be you, wants to get ahead really bad and really fast. They might be willing to do anything crazy to do it. Those crazy things. Those crazy things that they want, in order to get where they want to go, could be really interesting, could be groundbreaking and innovative because you have Pluto and Uranus there. They could be just like anything from like a strange hire, you know, you pick so-and-so who to do what, you know, we're seeing some of that with Trump's cabinet. Shockers, right? And people are, and everyone's going to just wait and see. Are these wild cards going to turn out to be a bust, or are they going to turn out to be innovative and groundbreaking? We don't know. But that Venus and Capricorn desire to control everything is still there. And Uranus and Pluto don't want to be controlled. And even though they're all working together, there's still a sense that at any moment, what they might come together and desire something just so intensely, and they're aligned and they work hard together and they've got all this passion for something. But at any moment, this can blow when you've got those planets. One person can decide one thing and the other one is so independent. I don't want that. And it just breaks open. So this could be happening at your workplace. It could be happening in your couples. It could be happening in your friends. It could be happening in your community. There's sort of a feeling here of like, okay, people have come together with some mutual passion, but it's very delicate. It can blow up very quickly. So you can see how different that feels in this chart compared to the other stuff we're talking about, which has much more of a, I'm affirming myself, I'm going to realign my life, and I have some control over my life, and I'm just sort of reconfiguring what and who is around me for the better, and I'm going to take some risks. And then you've got this lust for power, kind of lust for just you know, going on. And so right now we got to be careful of anything that we desire and cling to too intensely could shatter. It's sort of like, oh, I love this, crack. You know, you squeezed it too hard and it broke. So just saying, that is a metaphor. Could be a metaphor for certain relationship dynamics going on or projects that you have. Don't hold too tightly right now. So do you see how complex this chart is this time? Feels like a lot of mixed messages, doesn't it? Be bold, take leadership, go after what you want. Oh, but don't hold on too tight or it could all crack. Very delicate balance right here, right now, of strength and carefulness, strength and caution. Let's take a look at our cards for this reading. Let's see if we can put the music back. So let's do the cards. Let's see how the cards can help us make sense of this dark moon. Coming up on it pretty much as I'm recording in another hour. The new moon actually is going to hit, so might be watching the video literally as the energy is happening. I mean, we feel it for a few days before and after, but you know what I mean, the immediacy of the actual moment. Okay, let's take a look at the cards. So we have the 7 of discs. Yeah. Self-worth, that's the issue. 7 of discs is sometimes tight finances or lack of trust or feeling like a failure at something, but deep down it's a lack of self-worth. And whatever is bothering you right now, the answer is to raise your self-worth. Then, well, 2 sevens, we've got the 7 of swords. And that's usually a card, it's a moon in Aquarius. It would usually stand for detaching and walking away. Moon in Aquarius is a very sort of cold position to have it, even though they can be sensitive, they'll just never show you. It's usually sort of a very detached moon. It's sort of often people with moon in Aquarius had parents that were separated or divorced, and they were just sort of left on their own, sort of neglected, and to sit there and overthink things on their own or figure it out by themselves. And so the card says futility, and I often find the 7 of swords is one of those moments where you're just like, I'm done. I'm just done. That's it. I got nothing more to do and nothing more to say. I'm just done walking away. And there's like a cutting off emotionally. But it's not out of nowhere. It's not like you haven't tried. It's a 7, it's not a 1. Yeah, 7s are usually like points of conflict, points of testing. So you have been tested and you might be deciding to let go or walk away. And finally, we've got the 6 of Wands, which is victory, Jupiter and Leo. So here you see all the wands are in harmony and little flames between them, and it's like a bunch of people got together, figured out their space. Everybody's got their own little home fire, and people are pretty much living in harmony. And there's not too many people. And so you're able to coexist together with everybody having room to like take their place or express themselves. So it's a happy card, which is a great thing after the other 2 cards being difficult, because it sort of shows that, if you work on raising your self-worth and you are willing to detach and walk away from certain things right now, there's the victory card is there. The happy comes back. I feel like the end of the Capricorn and Pluto cycle is really asking people to be so honest with themselves in a way they never really thought they had to before. Things you thought you could keep going with, you find you can't. And so you have to be so clear with what you really deep down believe and what you want, so that you can align yourself and be more true. And it's hard work. It's hard inner work, but it's worth it. All right. So we're going to look at what each sign needs to do or perhaps work on or adjust right now, since there's so much going on here. What does your sign need to work on or adjust? And this is just the next couple of weeks as we go into the holidays. We're going to have another video of the full moon before we hit the holidays. So, Aries, what do you need to work on or adjust? I think I will burn my sage first. All right, very nice. You've got the love card, 2 of cups. Look how funky this is. What's going on? Ooh, all right. So the love card, 2 of cups. You're working on or adjusting things with intimacy within your couple or maybe within friendships. The card says Venus in Cancer. It's about nurturing and being empathic towards other people and them being that way towards you. As you see, like, it's a beautiful sculpture, almost like a wedding sculpture. 2 fish intertwined, lotus flower, overflowing cups. Everything looks wonderful right now. So it's lovely for you. You've got the North Node in your sign, and maybe you're feeling much more at home with the way things are flowing with your relationships than you have in a long time. If not, then that is the thing to be working towards. Taurus, what do you need to adjust or work on, if anything? And you've got the 7 of Swords. So we just mentioned this. If you're fed up, Taurus, it's time to cut your losses and run and walk away. If you're just done, finished, utterly frustrated with something or someone, it's time to just let it go, detach and walk away. Sometimes this card can actually mean letting go and detaching in terms of, a job or a move. It can be moving to another place. It can be quitting. Sometimes the 7 of Swords is just a little moment where you're like, you know what? I've done like endless favors for that neighbor. When they ask again, no, I'm walking away. I'm done. Hopefully it doesn't cause but you know what I'm saying. And others are really like major changes in our lives where the walking away or the letting go is quitting a job, leaving a toxic relationship or outgrowing something. And other times it's like change of residence. So you look to me like you're poised and ready to make a big decision to walk away from something. Gemini, do you need to adjust anything right now, work on or adjust anything? I've got the Chariot. So the Chariot is all about consolidating more than one force, They've got the armor, they've got this huge disc spinning and their solar plexus showing their power and their will, but sitting there cross-legged. So where are you going? Huge chariot, big wheels, 4 creatures below. Nobody's moving. So you might be feeling very frustrated. It's your opposite time of year in Sag. And, things are opposing Jupiter, which is in general helping you out. But right now there's opposition. So you might be feeling a little frustrated and impatient with people. Things are sort of slowing down or not happening as quickly or easily as you thought. So the only thing you need to adjust though is really just your patience, adjust your timeline. How long does something have to take? Just extend your timeline a little bit, and it's a time of like really working on getting multiple ideas into one, or people's intentions or goals or thoughts desires into one stream instead of multiple streams for things to go forward. And you're good at that, but like we said, there's all kinds of communication issues right now, making it more difficult, but it will get easier when Mercury goes direct on the 25th, 15th of December. It should get a little easier just before Christmas. So it's just like adjusting your patience for the next couple weeks. Cancer, is there anything you need to work on or adjust right now? You've got the sun. Well, you need to be more playful and more joyful and more, that childlike, fun, innocent side of you comes out. Showing us your heart. Look at how big and bursting that sun is and how far and wide the rays are going. Like, you need to shine. That's basically what you need to do. It's like, it's not always easy for Cancer to let yourself shine. Usually you're, the first hint of somebody needing something or taking more place than you, or somebody is like, I don't know, maybe they're jealous. You're letting yourself shine, but somebody seems upset about it. You're just gonna go back in your shell, back in my shell. To not want to hurt anybody or not want to cause a conflict. But this card, the sun, is really saying, keep shining anyway. We're talking about this whole chart is like being true to yourself and aligning yourself. And how are you going to find the right people or projects or whatever to align with if you don't let yourself shine? If you hide yourself, you'll just find more people that want you to hide. So let yourself shine. And that's a lovely message to have before the holidays. Just get into that holiday spirit. Let yourself be more outgoing, funny, whatever it is you want to do. All right. Leos, what do you need to do or adjust? You got the Queen of Discs. So that's like a businesswoman, and as you probably see, she's got like this giant spear and giant horns, and she's got her little, maybe it's a secretary or her guard, henchman that you've got to get past. Maybe you need that. Maybe you're having trouble getting ahead because you're bumping up against a wall of somebody who's, like that goat who's like not letting you have access somehow to the other source that you need. If you're applying for jobs, let's say, and you can never quite get to talk to the right person because you keep getting the assistant instead or stuff like that. Or maybe you're trying to make inroads with a relationship and there's a third party. There's a third party getting in the way or blocking the way. Could be because they're protective, could be because they're jealous, could be because they're, trying to just cause a stir. So yeah, that's the thing you have to work on here is like access. Whether it's you accessing someone else and needing to go around or really be artful to get through that gateway, that guard person, that it's going to take a bit of work. And if this is you and you're the one putting off like some sort of force field or wall, or people can't quite get to you, are you hard to reach? Are you hard to get to know? Are you hard to get close to? You can ask yourself that. But otherwise, if it's you in a practical situation, or somebody might not want to be available, somebody isn't ready to talk, isn't ready to resolve, isn't ready to promote you, perhaps. It's a complex situation. There's a bit of a triangle going on that you have to figure out here. All right, and Virgos, what do you need to work on or adjust? You got the 4. Oh, Four of Discs. So that's all about power. It says power right on the card. Power, structure, stability. If you look at it from an aerial view, it's a castle with four towers and a moat and very narrow, long, walkway, gateway, to get in. And then when you get in, there's nothing in there. So it's sort of a funny card. It's power. Okay. Yeah, we see it's powerful. Everything is a castle and it's all gated and protected. But when you get inside, it looks pretty cold and empty. So are you idealizing something above your means? Are you idealizing rich people or big houses or big fancy jobs or titles or I don't know? It might not be what you actually need or want. Once you get inside the castle, who are you? Are you standing there alone going, hello? Or do you end up being a servant? So yeah, that's the message it's telling me is look at the illusions you might have about where you think you want to be or what you think you want or should have been, or I don't know, there's something to do with your expectations of yourself. And looking at the realities of people that have those and not putting them on such a pedestal is what I'm getting for you. This is channeling. That's not about what that card is usually about. I've never said that before with that card. All right. Libras, is there something you need to know or adjust? Well, you've got the Fool card, so you need a brand new vision, a brand new chapter is being born. And it is because Pluto Capricorn has left your grueling time where it's been ripping through your family and your roots and your sense of history and security for years and years and years. So you need a fresh view of what does my life look like now? What do I want next? And it's really just for you to vision it and birth it yourself. There's no right or wrong. The Fool is the call to action, right? It's just hearing the call, like, oh, I think I want to take up this interest, or I think I want to do more trips, or I want to, I don't know, redecorate something and live in a completely different feeling than I do now. Or I see myself spending more time in nature and with my cat or my friends. Something is a departure from what you were doing. And you just really need to have that vision of, well, tuning in to where do you see yourself? Don't worry about what happened and didn't happen and should have happened or didn't, try your best to just go, that was a chapter. What happened in it is already written. And now I need to feel out. Okay, don't try to go back and rehash and fix that. What do you see going forward? What do you want? So that's all you need to do right now. That's the stage you're at. And it's great. Scorpios. All right. What you need to do or adjust is Mars and Leo, which is in the heavens right now. You need to be bold and you need to put your foot down or take a stand. You need valor is, something courageous, something where usually someone puts themselves on the line and does something difficult on behalf of the greater good or doing the right thing or protecting your integrity or someone else's. It's never easy, but it's necessary. So I feel here that you've been allowing too many things to sort of weigh you down and doubt you for too long. It could be your own self-doubts and your own demons, but it could actually be other people around you that you're entertaining, let's just say. And maybe you need to sort of stand up and clear the air and clear the decks. You know, maybe you need to say, I don't know, you know what, so and so, I know we've been colleagues for all this time and I haven't said anything to you, but when you do X, Y, and Z, it's been bothering me. I would like us to work on that. Or I don't see us as great teammates or something. I mean, you might have a more delicate way of saying it than that. I'm tired right now. So that just came out in a very Mercury and Sag mallet kind of way. You might do it more delicately, you might not. But there is a need to stand up for yourself when the Valor card comes. And it's often sort of feels overdue, and usually the person feels nervous to do it. Exactly because they need to do it. So think about what is coming up to you as I say this. Sagittarius, happy birthday. Is there anything you need to do or adjust? Mm. You've got the Three of Swords, which is the grief card. Sorrow and loss. Well, can't be said any clearer, more clearly than that, can it? I mean, okay, we all have grief in our lives, and even when you move up the ladder or you find some crazy, wonderful relationship, or your ducks are in a row, or you're making more money, like even in times of success, is my point, there is still grieving. And if you're not in a time of success, there's certainly grieving. But it's definitely sort of saying like, maybe you've been needing to let yourself grieve a certain chapter or person that you haven't fully, because you need that to move on. Yeah. Didn't expect to see that as a birthday message, but feels to me like it's sort of something that happened to you a long time ago versus something that's up and coming. Feels like old grief. So my best advice to you, if you are feeling depressed or weepy or I don't know, whatever's going on, sad, and you don't know why, if you don't know why, allow your mind to open that this could be something very old, even childhood, and try not to judge it and worry about what it is and why. It will present itself if you just let yourself not run away from feeling something. And I bring this up too because often when you sort of say, okay, I'm just gonna give myself space to feel whatever this is. I don't know why, I don't know where it's coming from, doesn't matter. But I'm gonna just let myself have the room to go off and let myself feel whatever, or remember whatever, rehash in my head whatever's coming up. Usually memories work like that, and things have their own time and their own way of coming up when you're ready, somehow psychologically ready to face them and let them go. And so if you allow that space and don't suppress it with something, you often get maybe a burst of tears, but you also get enormous relief. Enormous relief. So that's the positive side of allowing yourself to feel this right now. Capricorns, what about you? Is there anything you need to change or adjust? Six of Pentacles, success. Well, it's definitely a healing time for you. There's like a feeling of protection and having, a sacred space, which could be anything. It could be, your apartment, could be a healer you go to, could be a friend's basement you want to hang out in for all I know, but there's a sacred space that you need to find and let yourself just sort of decompress and rest. The success card feels to me like you're on track, but you might be very feeling very weary and tired from everything you've been through, and you need like a safe space, a cozy time. You might need more sleep or less people around, or you might need more blankets or more cuddles with your dog if you've got, or cat, and you need to create that safe space around you with the people who are in your life too. Right now, like anyone bugs you, rattles your feathers, makes you tired, is not allowed in. You need a cocoon right now. Moon and Taurus, that card. Secure, comfortable, loyal. This is mine, my stuff, my space. Don't touch it. These are my people. Don't touch it. Security, like perfect security and comfort. That's what you need. Aquarius, how about you? Anything you need to adjust or work on? Well, you got luxury, 4 of Cups. Well, for you, it's a Moon and Cancer card. All the cups are full and overflowing with water. This could be a card of passion. As we mentioned, Venus and Pluto are together, but it's Moon and Cancer. It's a little more like overflowing with emotion, and opening your heart is what you need to work on. Letting things flow between you and other people, letting people see who you are and see how you feel and share how you feel, and let them share how you feel. Have a good hug together, have a good cry together, have a good yell together. Instead of going off on your own and withdrawing whenever you're feeling sensitive. Just let that emotion be shared. Let people nurture you. Nurture other people and let other people nurture you. This is a huge task for an Aquarius that I just said, but that's what the card is. That's where you're going to get the most benefit, is like open up your heart a crack. Let people see that you're sensitive. You're not going to fall apart, and they're not going to think you're weak. Pisces. What do you need to work on? You're right. 9 of Swords. If there's anyone around you that is not treating you well, you must get out. This is more that Mercury Neptune thing I told you about. Could be manipulation, scammers, someone lying, cheating. Not good. So it's time for you to just really be honest about who's around you. Are they really actually healthy for you? Are you around people you can trust? Are you allowing people to treat you like crap? Are you buying into other people's BS about themselves, even though you know better? Be careful right now, Pisces. The cruelty betrayal card is it's a warning to be careful of who's around you right now and how you let yourself be treated. Do not let people mistreat you. Yeah. All right. If you need my help with a reading, either now or over the holidays, as I said, I'm open for the holidays, just have some reduced hours here and there. I'm going to be working mainly on Zoom versus in person, because I will be away with family. And as I mentioned, I've got my specials at the beginning if you want to gift somebody some guidance. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you at the full moon, and I hope that you have some rest and some relief and a sense of purging and closure that comes in a good way for all of you. All right.